So, in hindsight, after I've uploaded, I believe 4 or 5 videos, I put in a little work. I did things a little different, made sure to narrate a little bit more instead of vocalize. And I'm doing my best to kind of refrain from um, putting too much effort in it, honestly, because every single time I have to listen to it and I'm going through all of this, I'm already going through a court process. I already have to go through this stuff anyways with an attorney now. And it's just making me relive things. And I know I have probably some PTSD or something going on. And I've been having that for for quite a few years now, ever since this program has started. Um, and long story short, I just feel like every time I have to listen to these things and then I'm editing them, it gets you infuriated. It gets you kind of reliving the moment, and then it just kind of ruins the day. And so I just need to take a break. But in hindsight, the biggest thing that I've noticed across the board when I'm listening to all the officers is they don't ever want me to write a report. They don't ever want me to materialize what's going on, and they do a considerable effort to make sure that my concerns are always extinguished and always thrown under the rug, always placed under a veil, and they're making sure that when I go back to get records, that there's no information about my concerns. For example, like at West Jefferson, um, when the guy pulled the pistol on me, and I was just paddling in. It was an evening, like going down the dusk, and the guy looked like he was catfishing or something. And he waited for me to get maybe about 15 to 20 yards away from the shore, and then starts just yakking at the mouth or whatever. And he's like brandishing a pistol and everything. And I ended up calling the police, which was right by which is by Jefferson County. And the dispatcher is giving me this runaround about how I should just stay there and the officer's going to be there, this, that, and the other thing. And they're trying to play games with my specific location, like my geospatial location, acting as if they're not familiar with the road that I'm talking about. And this is a super duper common means of abuse, and a tactic of abuse is they're taking the words that I'm saying, and they're acting as if I mention a road or if I mention a cross street, they have no clue or they can't hear me. And it's this redundant abuse of we don't understand what you're saying type of thing. And long story short, um, when I'm listening to all of these things, including even Sergeant Springfield after my arrest, not once was anything brandished for me to write down. Not once was there anything for me to report. Nothing. They don't want any witness statement. Nothing. Nothing. Okay? Nothing. And then when I go back before this arrest and I look at all of the records that I've had specifically with the Homewood Police Department, these officers have done a couple things. Number one, they didn't file any formal documentation, even though those were the records that I had already reported, that there was COINTELPRO going on, that there was crowd influence going on, and they reported and addressed the things that I said were going on regarding multiple people, okay? People you wouldn't think. But then when you look at the environment and the way they set it up through the psychosocial scenario, you see that they're using crowd influence and crowd control to terrorize you and instigate some type of confrontation. And you see that, you recognized it, you reported it. Not once did they ever want a witness statement from you. Not once did they ever want anything formally written. And it even goes to the extent where they'll tell you that they don't do handwritten reports. They'll tell you that we don't do reports. You don't do reports. And it's strange because I've had a female go in there and they handed her a report. But when they do it for me, they don't give me any reports or anything. But I've seen other people go into the police department, make complaints, and they'll hand them a sheet and they'll be able to write down all their concerns. But whenever I have a concern, they don't do that. And this is what it leads to. And so not once, what's interesting is I'm very concerned is that not once is a prosecutor concerned about going in and investigating, like I've already asked them to before my arrest, how many times I've reported to them, and my phone on record, how many times I've called them in 911, and why isn't the body camera footage from multiple officers? When I say multiple, I'm saying 4 or 5 plus officers, okay? Why isn't their officers have any body camera footage except the day of the arrest on February 19th? What happened to all the other body camera footage where you were on scene with me for 20, 30 plus minutes? Does that make any sense? It doesn't make sense. You know why it doesn't make sense? Because it's the rule that they always use in every type of scandalous campaign. We're going to alter the information. We're going to deny the information. We're going to erase the information. This is what they've been doing. This is what they do. This is what corporations do. This is what the FBI and the CIA does. This is what the government does. This is what the justice system does. Okay? The triad. It's the triad. Okay? We're going to alter the information. We're going to deny the information. We're going to erase the information. Here we are. Here we are. So I'm taking a break for today because it's Sunday and I'm not trying to work past 6 or 5 o'clock really. I'm trying to just depress because I've got to figure out some things for this week. And I'm going to continue to upload some more stuff probably Wednesday. I'm not in a rush. And today around exactly 12:46, I have it exactly 12:45, exactly at 12:45 this afternoon. I went to open up my front door, and I have this on camera. Me walking through the house, me opening the front door. The neighbor's dog decided he's going to come pay a visit at the front porch. Open the door, dogs are standing there broadside. Nothing has gone on. They want permissive neglect of this dog. They're waiting for me to react. They're waiting for some confrontation. And they're always just keeping this stress on you. Literally, they want your cortisol levels elevated. They want you stressed out all the fucking time. They don't care about fucking any mental illness. They don't care about Raynaud's and your peripheral arterial disease. They don't give a fuck. These people don't give a fuck. And this is why we need to be spearheading things in the courtroom. This is why. This is why I don't go out and deal with people at face value anymore. Because there's no respect, there's no care, and I just don't want to be around an area where I can muster the fortitude and I can muster the solace, okay, and the stoicism. But the problem is my body can't keep up with it. That's the problem. It doesn't matter how hard you are. Your body can't physically keep up with it. And when I tore my Achilles tendon, they had a residual plantar fasciitis. So I still have to deal with that too, this intermittent plantar fasciitis, right? And all the crap that's going on with the asymmetry, okay? Because I didn't go back after I was living in a place I shouldn't have even been living. I had a partial tear after that. So it's just a conundrum and it's a snowball effect. It's just problems after problems. And the only way that they can introduce problems is through interaction. And if that's what it is about, and I can't go to the grocery store, and I can't just go to the gym, and I can't just go out in public settings without being harassed and terrorized and stalked and followed, then I just won't do it. And I'll just stay here. That's it. I'll just stay here and I'll just work from here. But I'm not going to go out and be amongst the public and be touched, be told that I'm doing things that I'm not, being forced into problems like safety issues, not putting on the right straps, being put in situations where they don't want to restrain the patient and I'm behind the patient, okay, riding in the ambulance, and the FTO or supervisor doesn't feel the right or need to put a seatbelt on the patient. And if we get in a front end collision, guess who's going to be squashed? And guess who's going to die? Probably me and the patient. I'm not dealing with it, man. This is rural EMS. That's what rural EMS has been about ever since I started in 2008. This, let's put a patient on with no seatbelts. That's a rural EMS thing. You go in the city, no. You go in the city, guess what? You walk in with that attitude, you could walk right the hell back out with that attitude because they won't tolerate it. So the thing about it is I'm fed up with it. I can't walk out my own house without being stalked and timed by vehicles. I'll walk outside every single day to go let the dogs out. And every time I'm opening that back door, they make sure to time a vehicle right by. And this isn't just something that's nuanced or taboo. This is actually on YouTube back in the mid 2000s. They had a couple that was reporting to the news that they're being stalked by cars. And every time a car would drive by, they would honk. This is on YouTube. This is a decade and a half ago. That's already been reported, like 2 decades ago now, basically. People were reporting this type of terrorism and behavior from a society of strangers they don't know. And it ends up that the couple, the man, the male of the family, has a bunch of security cameras, and he's got a bunch of video, and he's going back and forth to court, and he's going back and doing all of these things, the same shit that I'm doing, okay? So this whole crowd control, crowd influence stuff is out there. It's out there. People have already reported it, okay? So that's the thing. It doesn't matter how stoic you are. It doesn't matter how hard or disciplined or how much fortitude or tenacity you have. It doesn't matter. Your body falls apart because it's chronic cortisol. It's chronic cortisol. That's it. You're isolated socially, you're oppressed, and everything is against your gradient psychologically. So what's the point? The second you start working with somebody, they want you working with people who are there to undermine your task. That's what they want. So I can't work with people. I can't work with a partner because they're always trying to undermine things. That's been going on in the past. I reported it in the past. And guess what? HR doesn't do anything about it. Supervisors don't do anything about it. So that's that. So moving forward, we're going to do a bunch more videos on police. All the interactions I've been having. You know what's strange too is I was lectured in court about what indigent means and why I have to pay for a lawyer. And I've been homeless. I've been sleeping in my car, eating food out of a camping tin, right? A little burner, okay? Eating freaking beans and oats for over a year. I've been sleeping in my car, okay? While I was a paramedic, making nothing, jumping from job to job over defamation and things that I had no control over, okay? I've been under financial abuse for years, domestic financial abuse by my family for my entire adult life. That's what it's been about. Making sure that I scrape by and that I'm in turmoil. That's what it's been about for the past, my entire adult life. It's been about that. I can't go anywhere. People always coming in contact with me with drugs, with problems, vandalism of the house, mocking me, bringing up the past, putting me in situations and intercepting me and antagonizing me, stalking me, cyber stalking me. The list goes fucking on. So there's no reason really to do anything further in healthcare at a person-to-person or a hospital or an ambulance service value, right? There's no value to that. It's going to be all telemedicine from here on out. It's going to be all remote. That's it. Is I just don't tolerate it. I'm not going to tolerate it. Matter of fact, I'm not working anywhere unless it has video and audio, period. If it doesn't have or is not associated with my recordings of video and audio, I'm not working. It's that simple. It's that simple. I don't care what job it is. I don't care how high or how low. Well, I do care how low, but that's that. I'm not working anywhere that doesn't have me on record, audio video. If you don't have that, then I'm not worried about it. I won't even, I'm going to look, I'm going to ask your recruiter. If you don't have it, that's fine. End of discussion. Okay. Because I'm just tired of it. I'm just fed up with it. The thing with the police, I have numerous other things that I want to get into, especially before my arrest. I already just said that I was concerned about the things that they didn't bring up, the missing information, which is so common, and then all of the spam that's been getting in my cell phone. And while we're waiting for trial and we're waiting for all this nonsense to actually transpire and all this attorney stuff, the whole time the FCC hasn't done anything about my records, even though the regulatory body says I have a right to that. The only thing that they could do is slap Straight Talk TracFone Wireless on the hand, and then I have to physically pay $600, and they're using all this fiscal semantical things regarding the $300 for bond and $130 for bond, and which is the three misdemeanors that I have. It's just a whole laundry list of numbers that are all associated with the abuse. My YouTube video is all associated with the abuse by them going through all of my likes and toggling all the likes for 6 and 9 and 3 and 2 and all these things that are pertinent in my life going on in real time. They just go through all the likes and move it all around so that they could poke fun and abuse you that way too. Nothing's changed. In my server, like on some of the games or even on the news, thumbnails, YouTube thumbnails, which I don't even look at a lot of the social media anymore because it's all programmed to target me in real time. What it is that I'm doing, some type of antagonism or poking fun of the things that are going on in my life. They'll bring in the sentences and the phrases all pertaining to things that are going on. Commercials on your Spotify, commercials on YouTube. It's all dialed into you, and they basically stole your brain. This is what they've done. They've stole your brain. All the key logging that they've done, possibly voice recording through the phone, has all been downloaded, and they just put it in AI. They had to have, because the accuracy and precision of all of the interactions and the timing of the vehicles and the timing of everything, the way it's timed and coordinated, tells me that it has to be surveillance and it had to be archived. It had to be analyzed. That way it could be accurate, right? That's the scientific method, basically firsthand, and how statistics work and then how an algorithm works. It just has to be that way. It's obvious. It's implied. Just like a civil conspiracy, I don't have to go searching for somebody and a secret note in someone's back pocket or jacket that says, yeah, we're going to conspire against him. No, the law even says I just have to measure the frequency, duration, and timing of the actions, which means it's implied. It's implied, okay? So, anyways, I'm just going to continue to be uploading a bunch more stuff. I have other videos. Some of the things I'm going to be releasing specifically are going to be my conversations with the Homewood Police Department before my arrest. I've got a couple more videos I'm going to upload. I'm just being careful because there's somebody erasing all of my information. I've already found out that all the police departments in this county have been basically marginalizing all of my concerns. And there's just a little bit of things on record. But what's really kind of going on beneath the water is what I've really reported. And what they're got on record is like this. That's what I'm finding out the more I start to investigate. And this is why they don't want me writing any reports. And I'm going to get into one specifically where I'm being stalked and harassed, criminal intentions. Okay, I'm going to upload my conversation. You're going to hear this police officer try to deflect me and tell me that I'm trying to act like a police officer. And it's always deflection. It's always misinformation and aggression. And it's always trying to walk and whittle you down psychologically instead of addressing the issues. But guess what? By the end of that night, by midnight, this tenant And the other one, move the hell out of here. Period. But when I come to find out, and I went back in the records after spending numerous hours in this police department, I find out that there's not a single piece of paper regarding the incident, except what I have on record. Thank God that I took pictures. But come to find out, the whole package of information that I left isn't even inside the records department. No one knows where it went. But I took pictures. Luckily, I took pictures. It's strange how that fucking works, huh? Anyways, this is why I don't vlog. Because every day I've got to deal with it. Every day I've got to see it, hear it, and then I've got to feel it through the aches and pains of my fucking body. And then I've got to take medications because of it. This is why I get worked up every time I have to do these fucking vlogs. And it's just a pain in the fucking ass. So I'm going to leave it to court. I'm going to do as much as I can in the next week or so, but I'm focused on other things. But I do have a lot more of the audio and video. But it's just infuriating that I'm doing the investigative work and I'm finding that a lot of it is being spoliated because there's a bunch of fucking cowards. And they expect you to have the integrity and you to have the fortitude. And then they don't want to stop doing it. That's the problem. They don't want to stop. They don't know what stop means. They don't know what leave me alone means. They don't know any of that shit. They just keep fucking doing it.